Hey everybody, welcome to Girl Let's Agree to Disagree. It's gonna be Hannah and myself today. Hey Hannah.
Hello, how are you?
Doing good. Before we start talking, I just want to thank absolutely everybody who's joining in. I know people are probably going to trickle in, so we thank you. If you have not done so, click like and subscribe to receive our notifications. We are doing The Bachelorette every Tuesday, 10 minutes after it ends. Are we going to have 2-hour episodes every week?
I don't think so. I feel like maybe this is just a thing to like finish this segment of the season quicker.
Get it over with. Just so we can get it over with really quick. Just 2-hour episodes until, you know, the actual show comes on.
Actually, it's been so long. Is it normally 2 hours?
It's not. I think typically it would be like a 2-hour episodes for a few, and then it cuts off. But you know,
actually, I think normally it's on. I feel like normally it's 2 hours. It's been so long, and I feel like this year has been so long. I can't even remember. But I see some comments about Kimmy. Kimmy was on vacation and isn't going to be able to join us tonight. So, but she's going to be back on Thursday. So
absolutely, she is having the best time of her life in Mexico. If you want to see what she's doing, go on to her Instagram because she's posting some really beautiful pictures that I wish I was really in right now. I think she's in Tulum.
Yeah, she's in Tulum.
Those pictures are absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, click like and subscribe, receive notifications. Also follow us on our Instagram and our Twitter handles. Great way to support a super chat if you can. That'd be amazing. Let's get started. Hannah, this episode, I don't even know where to begin. And for those, please comment on where you want us to start.
This was the strangest episode of this show that I think I've ever seen. Like, this beat out any of the, like, you know, this is the most dramatic episode that we've ever had or whatever. Like, I think this one actually lived up to that. Like, it was not just one event. It was like one thing after another, and I was just mind blown at it. Honestly, it was very entertaining.
It was very entertaining, and I mean, I've never experienced that much secondhand embarrassment in a really long time. I felt embarrassed for so many reasons.
I feel like we need to go in order.
Absolutely.
Like, what happened? I know you said you took notes. I was kind of running around during it. So first thing, what do you have on there? And
I think the very first thing we start off with is Claire and her group dates, like the first round of group dates. So we're here in the group dates. Obviously, we're talking about the love languages, and it's talking about the 5 love languages. And this whole date is about, I'm guessing the theme of this whole thing is really about helping Claire heal through all of the BS that she's kind of gone throughout all of Bachelor Nation. That's what I kind of got out of it. But obviously, you know, I don't want to keep on mentioning it because everybody does, but she is an older Bachelorette. She's like not here to play, you know? So she's just like, okay, we're talking who's read the 5 love languages? Have y'all ever heard of the 5 love languages? Because have you read that book, Hannah? Because we actually have it in the house, but
I haven't read it, but Ovi has, and he's like tried to get me to read it before, and I haven't. But I know what they are, and I know like what his are, and I know what mine are, and so like I know of it. And so when they like said what this was gonna be, I knew kind of what to expect. But it was funny that we kind of skipped over or like edited out like 2 of them, and we had to do physical touch.
Absolutely.
is always just kind of awkward no matter what. There's always that at least one moment in one of these group dates where somebody gets more touchy than someone else, and it's uncomfortable for everyone.
Yeah, it was really weird because you had the first ones, which was like words of affirmation. So these men are literally obligated to tell her something nice, which is just like, and they're like put on the spot of like, this is why I like you, and they're
and they don't know her. And I know this, and I still love the show, but like they don't really know her. And so I'm always like, I was just sitting there thinking, and I was like, what would I say, man? Like, you seem really nice.
What would a guy say to you that you didn't feel made it disingenuous? You know what I mean? It's like, well, I'm making you say something nice about me. Tell me something. But then it comes off super cheesy, sometimes like rehearsed. She's talking about, ooh, peel those layers. I like onions, something like that. I don't know. It was just really awkward.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's just the beginning of it.
I want to say with Jobs. J Jobs says, is it just me or does Claire seem thirsty?
I don't want to say thirsty. I think that she needs affirmation. Like, I think she needs words of affirmation, literally.
It's her love language, obviously. I think, look, I can only say it because I'm her age, that there's a time in your life where you need men to kind of step it up. She's dealing with like these 28-year-olds. So if she's going to start talking about love languages, I need you to understand like what I want. Like she's literally, you know how people talk about like cougars and like how men like to date cougars because they're very sure of themselves and they know what they want and they know their way around the bed. All these like myths and, legends of the cougar. Like I feel like that is what she is showing right now. She's showing that she's very direct. She's very on point. This is what she wants. She's not going to mess with it. Like you're either on it or not, but it's very off. I feel like it's off culture for what we're typically used to seeing in Bachelor.
Yeah. And I think that sums up the show with her so far is that like, I don't think it's bad. I think it is just so much different than what we're used to with the show. And so I think that like really sums it up with what we've seen so far. But there wasn't so much on the first group date. Let's talk about the second group date.
Yeah. So we go from there, they'll also, we can't, skip the fact that Dale just said absolutely everything that she wanted to hear, even though I'm thinking like maybe she is just listening to what Dale has to say. I don't know. She's probably mesmerized by Dale.
I swear they gave Dale like a bug and like planted it in her room and like he knows what she wants. Like I feel like he could be like, you're kind of crazy. And she'd be like, yeah.
Yeah. And then you fast forward. Okay. So you're on that group date, you fast forward and then they have their kind of like their nighttime question. And she's talking to them about how she's so grateful that they've opened up and that they're here with her. And then there's this just damn awkward silence and she's like, does anybody want to take me, like to talk?
How did I forget about this?
Yeah, because that was the first that was not the first awkward part, but
there was so much in that. And here is what I'm going to say, because my immediate thought was, I wonder if they just didn't realize. Okay, to be fair, these men and everyone have just been chilling at home for months. And I feel like now that I have started my like job and my career and like am around people on a daily basis, I had to kind of like reteach myself some like social cues that I had like kind of lost in the midst of being at home.
So we're blaming this on COVID, are we, Hannah?
I think that maybe they just didn't realize that like she was ready for that, or maybe they thought something else was happening. I don't know. I just try to like see it from their perspective, but like it was so uncomfortable. So uncomfortable.
It is so uncomfortable. Hey, I want to give a big shout out to Miriam M. This is my sister, y'all. So my sister is on the chat. Say hi to my sister, Miriam. And she's saying, tell me you love me. I love you.
We love you.
We love you, Miriam. Thank you for coming on the show. I told her to hop in because she is now starting to watch The Bachelorette as well. And she was watching it here too, since we can't like talk about it like right after. I was like, just get on the show. Yeah. But yeah, I agree. Everything was just, it's like they forgot what to do. But here's the thing, like, if it was anybody else, I felt like they would have snatched her up already. So I do understand where she's coming from. Was she like overreacting? Because I know she kind of tends to overanalyze things, and she can be a little quick-tempered. I mean, that is kind of her nature.
I don't want to say that she overreacted. I don't know if I would have reacted in the same way, but I don't think that's the same thing as overreacting. I don't know. Like I also try to take into account like editing, and like maybe it looked worse than it was. Like I don't know.
Girl, she was some guy, like I forgot who took her. Bennett took her, and then he's talking, and she stops him, and she's like, I'm sorry, like I want to be present, and I need to get this off my chest, and like literally gets up, goes, and like
she literally was just like, that was weird. Which I like her in that sense, because she's just like no BS. And I feel like honestly I'm the same way, and if something is bothering me, I'm really bad at like functioning while that's happening. And so like I respected that in a sense, that she wasn't just like letting this guy pour his heart out and then be like, Instead, she was just like, I'm just not really in this right now. I need to figure this out.
Like, and I feel really bad because this wasn't even the most awkward thing that happened to her during these episodes. So like okay, so Yusuf, I forget, was it you that you said you liked Yusuf, or was it that Kemi said she liked Yusuf? Please remind me. Yeah.
No, me.
Okay, so it's probably Kemi. Yes, because Yusuf was the guy who was there last week with the wrong intentions. We were like, Tyler C got cut off or got sent home because of Yusuf, or she decided to keep Yusuf and not Tyler C, right? So Yusuf, as she tells the group this, Yusuf then says, let me talk for everybody here and basically say that you're crazy if you think people aren't here for you. And it was like a pause, because he kind of said, you're crazy, pause. Because that's how I felt. I felt like, ooh, she's gonna snap because you just called her crazy.
Yeah, that whole thing was uncomfortable. And then it was like, he tried to say it again in a like better way, but it still didn't really like translate, I feel like, the way that she wanted to. And so it was that was uncomfortable.
And she snapped too. She snapped at him, and she was just like, I don't want you to speak for everybody. I want you to speak for yourself. And it was like, oh.
I know. And I feel like that is one thing that, there is like the good and no BS or whatever, but there is too, like, it's a weird process. And I feel like there has to be a little bit of grace sometimes. Like sometimes some people, especially people like different regions, different backgrounds, whatever, like some people wouldn't like think that it was offensive to be like, I think the whole group, we all want to be here for you. Like we didn't mean that, And so I don't know. It was a weird situation, and it was weird to watch, and it was the beginning of the end, really.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was awkward in itself. All of a sudden, Dale takes her, makes it all go away.
Thing too. He was like, I don't ever want you to feel that way. Like, and it's our fault that we made you feel that way.
He was very quick. It seems like Mr. Dale knows exactly what to say to her. Is just, I mean, she basically said, "You scare me" to him. You know, obviously she has a lot of feelings, but she's trying. You can see like she's trying to meet other people, and she's trying to.
It's just so obvious that she.
Yeah, and this is where it's awkward because then that's where the the disingenuous part aspect of it is that now you fast forward and you have your solo date with this guy, which is even more intense.
What was his name again? I forgot.
Jason. His name is Jason.
Poor right? Jason. You know, if this was the lottery, he just picked, oh my God, he got dealt the worst deal. Oh my Lord. What was this date?
The date is just basically it's like a healing. It's a date to help them heal. So I mean, like, I don't know.
It's been like 5 seconds.
It was a little off, but it seems that Jason also has kind of some skeletons in his closet. She kind of felt very connected to him. Maybe it was something that she might have read in his bio, or maybe I don't know. How does that work? Like, do the girls like actually read? Did Claire have time to read these bios of these guys and who they were and what they did prior to actually knowing them?
I don't know this for fact, but I feel like a lot of it is producer and like on their end. And I mean, we know, I mean, I'm assuming it's similar to the way that, you know, Big Brother is. Like, they know everything about you. Like the cast, like the directors, they know everything about you.
Yeah, I feel like in this way, it's kind of like, this is where I said, like, it looks like she's using this moment to like heal from herself and try to get rid of like past demons. But she's also kind of trying to get him to overshare too. And I feel like for a first date, this is heavy.
It was weird too. And there was one thing that kind of like struck a chord with me. It was she was like kind of pulling to like get him to say more. And I was like, this is a lot just for a first date. Like, most of the time they're like riding in a helicopter, like doing something really fun. And I know that they can't like do the helicopter thing right now, but like I would have thought that the first date was supposed to be like lighthearted, and you figure out like if you like each other enough to even want to know all the deep stuff about them. Like,
absolutely. It'd just be like, it's more like, hey, tell me about yourself. Not like, let's write letters and throw things in the fire and scream about our past problems. And that's like
really, I know.
Really heavy.
And it was like, can you write down things that people have said about you before? And if I were her, I would have been like, well, why did somebody say this about you? Like, what did you
do? Leslie B says, what about Bennett, who she left just sitting there to go yell at the guys and never came back for him? I felt bad. It's like, wait, he's probably still there, Leslie. I don't know. He's probably sitting down still waiting for her to come back, because after that,
I did feel bad.
Dale took her. So like, that was it. Bennett didn't even have a chance to talk.
He's one of, I think, many that are going to be left just chilling.
Lady B says that date was a free therapy session. Absolutely. Yeah. Like, wait, can we talk how intense it is that she would take her finale dress from her season with Juan Pablo and throw it in the fire pit with a man that she doesn't even know? It's like,
I would be like, because this was like 6 years ago, I would be like, why are you yeah, don't get me wrong, everybody, you know, processes things or whatever. I would think it was a little bit strange to still be that hung up on that. Like, but that's just me.
Absolutely.
But I feel like 6 years is a long time. Like,
I mean, well, here's the thing. The thing is that isn't there some type of rule for like getting over a relationship? It's supposed to be half times the time you spent with them. So
But
she spent
in like a month.
yeah, so she was with him for like, so she was like on and off with him for what is this, like 30 days, 2 months, 60 days? So it literally should have taken you 30 days to get over this dude.
I get too, because she talked about like when she came onto that season, she was healing from an abusive relationship. And so maybe the dress, like, to her represents more of like that time period of her life, and like, getting over that, and like not allowing people to step over you. And maybe it was more than just the Juan Pablo stuff. I don't know. But anyways, that was just one thing on top of all of this. And the date overall to me was very strange. And there was another point where she asked him, he was talking about something, and she was like, oh, is it like family stuff? And she was like, is it like deep, like family stuff? And she was kind of like smiling. And I was like, why is she like laughing?
Well, why? Because, and she also mentioned how she used to go for damaged guys. Like, so this is like legit the guy who at some point, I mean, we're getting the idea that he's damaged goods himself, because I had to write this down because there were so many things. They had to write words that they had to
use to describe them before, like in a
and yeah, exactly. So I was just like, oh hell no, this is just like all these red flags. So this guy said manipulative,
I know,
selfish, insecure, cold, mean. It's like, yo,
that's what I was saying,
dude.
That's what I was saying. I was like, I feel like if somebody said manipulative, like if they described themselves as saying that like someone else said they were manipulative, I would be like, oh shit, like why'd they say that?
Yeah, I'm just like, these are all things, and I'm just like, wow. Like, and as he was saying this, he's like, but I don't want to be that way. Wait, okay, so here's my thing. You don't want to be that way, but you didn't say I'm not that way anymore.
You are.
You don't want to be that way, but you are that way.
It was confusing, and I was uncomfortable. And this is coming from a girl who has been on very strange first dates before, and this one really got me. I was like,
yeah, do tell. I mean, I like, yeah, to have a really odd first date. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
It was, anyways. After that strange encounter,
after all of that really crazy stuff and practicing the letting go and burning of her dress, the kumbaya of it all, they go on their second group date. And she says that she's looking for a man who's got some balls. And it's dodgeball.
I thought it was a little weird, but I do want to say that every season of The Bachelor, they have the girls do some kind of crap in like their lingerie, and they're like, doing a pillow fight in lingerie, or they're doing, like a talent show in like basically lingerie-esque outfits. And so like, it was weird, but I think it's just because we're not as used to seeing the roles reversed as much.
I agree. Miriam, my sister says, I'm going to be honest. The fact that she had them strip, no one would have been okay if the Bachelor asked that of the women. I did think this, and I haven't talked to my sister today. So I don't know if that's because we were raised together. I was thinking the same exact thing. I was just like, this is really awkward. I mean, I'm all about
do that though. Like, they do.
Wait, they don't have the girls stripped down completely naked though, is it? Not
completely naked, no, but they've definitely had like them do, whole photo shoots in their bikinis, and like I said, like just last season, and the lingerie and like the pillow fights and everything, and they, it was the same thing with like what they did tonight, where if somebody turned around and there was too much skin showing, they like would blur it out. And you're right, it's like not to the same degree, but I guess it's like the same thing with like society, like we think it's okay for men to walk around with their shirt off, but not women. So like, I guess that they get basically as naked as they can, like on the girls' one.
And we see, wait, I want to kind of go back a little bit because I know that some of the fans are talking to you, Hannah. Hannah, JP wants you to know that he had a first date walk out on him because he didn't believe in psychics.
That person has very strong belief, and
he also says he had a date who wanted him to start paying for her hair and nails if they got serious. Like it was like one of their first date. It was like one of their first date requirements.
Oh.
It's like, if I'm going to be dating you, you need to start paying for my hair and my nails.
It sounds like they wanted a sugar daddy, not
Yes, JP, I'm sorry. I think she was looking for a sugar daddy.
Maybe she was on the wrong side or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but yes, it's going back to, the dodgeball of it all. The guys seemed to be okay with it. Hannah, this is where the I guess where the thirstiness comes in, of like her wanting to up the ante, and it's like, this is mine, I want to see y'all naked, type of situation. And now, not only that, but it was really awkward because once they lost and like they literally took everything off, like she still wanted a hug, and that was just like really creeper vibes. That gave me, had a dude done that, I would have just, it just seemed very creepy.
And then they had to walk home with it. I know they're on like the resort, so it's not that bad, but I was just like, oh my God.
I don't think anybody else is in that resort, right?
Yeah, I just the whole thing was strange, and I thought that, I don't know. I think we should do away with the whole like everyone stripping down on group dates in general. Like maybe not have the lingerie dates, maybe not have these dates at all. I just think we're beyond it. Like, I don't know. Maybe if we didn't have dates like that, there's like a prerequisite, then people with like different body types would feel comfortable like being on the show and shit. Like, I don't know. I just don't.
Yeah. Veracity says it was fine, but the guys should have been asked if they were comfortable for it.
I agree.
I thought they did. I thought they asked us like, is everybody cool with that? Okay, there's a lot of stuff that gets edited, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine production not asking these guys if they were okay with it firsthand. Do you think that they would just kind of throw it out there? Maybe initially for the first, like, whoa.
I have no idea, just because I don't know anything about that. Hopefully it was done off camera and we didn't see it, but I'm not sure. I actually was just looking at the pictures from like Peter's lingerie shoot last season, and I think I might be wrong, honestly. Like it was not as bad as I thought. It was more like kind of like nightgowns and stuff.
Oh, was that their runway?
No, that was like the boxing ring one or whatever.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I think I was kind of wrong. That's not really the same level. I don't know. It was weird. The whole thing was just weird vibes.
I'd like to say that Ovi says that it's very unconsensual.
What?
He's messaging me. He's like, that's not cool. So as we should have got Ovi here and asked him, Ovi, as a man, would you be okay with something like this? Because seriously, I don't think that it would be okay.
No, I don't think everybody would be. And honestly, like they previewed, I think it was Yosef who was talking about like having a child at home and like not really wanting them to watch that. And I kind of get it in a way. Like, I don't think a lot of people's like families like would be cool, like would be comfortable. Like, you know, your family would like want to like support you and watch you on a show. But I feel like some people's families like culturally would not be okay with that. And just like, I think that would be weird.
Yes. I would see it as like, well, you know, sometimes if you see The Bachelor and what the Bachelor entails, you kind of have to be not up for it, but understand that those are things that happen, because sometimes those challenges are a little crazy. You know, they're a little over the top. But maybe someone, I could understand like someone like Yusuf, which I don't know who he is. We don't have a lot of information on him, but we do know, like you said, that he has a child. And maybe he went in saying, Clare's 39. I'm going to be on this show, and it's not going to be the same type of show, because it's not going to be as immature. There's not going to be all of these things. But she's kind of coming off. I mean, hey, like she's like, I'm looking for my guy, and I don't know, going to
see it all.
Going to milk everything that I can possibly milk before I get with Dale. And here's the other thing, is she's like doing this when she knows she's absolutely in love with Dale. So I think that's the biggest problem I personally have with these episodes in general. It's just, you know, the idea that
it's weird knowing the spoilers that we know, but trying to look past that. Why don't we move on? We'll move to what was next after this, the nighttime portion of this group date, which continues this strangeness of this episode.
Yeah, you have kind of some of these one-on-ones, and again, with what people would say, that the neediness of Clare in wanting to know, what do you like about me? And we have Brandon, who is absolutely, that was so awkward.
He was not ready.
He was not ready. He was like, so what do you like about me? And he's just like, well, you're absolutely gorgeous. As soon as I saw you, I wanted to be on the show. She's like, well, what else? And then literally shut him down.
I think that was the worst of the night, like by far. I was sitting there looking at my TV screen like, because you could see the wheels like turning in his brain.
I was like this. I was like, oh my God. You
could see the wheels turning in his brain, and he was like, oh shit. And then he was like, tried to say something else to like fix it. And then he was like, well, I don't really think anybody knew that much about you, honestly. And then she was like, but no, they did. And it was just so uncomfortable.
It's like she made it a point to make him feel uncomfortable. I was very surprised that she, not that she had it in it, because I mean, she's been that confrontational before. Like, I remember her in Winter Games, and she was pretty much that confrontational as well, and very forward. So, and it's, yeah, you can see like she's not down for the bullshit. She's going to be like, well, what? You know, you don't want to talk about this? This is what it's about. We're supposed to be talking, you know? And I was just like, ooh.
It was scary. I felt like my girlfriend was like getting angry at me. Like, I couldn't say the right thing to fix it. It was hard to watch.
Rhapsody said you can't script that level of embarrassment.
You know what made me think we're going to do a little crossover right now? Brandon is like the David of this season. He didn't do any research, and unfortunately,
Lady B agrees. Lady B agrees, says, Rip Brandon, he didn't do any research. It's like, you should have been evicted on day one, buddy. Day one.
It'd be like if Julie came to the house and was like, did you really not know what OTEV was? Like, just go. Like, just go.
I think with Brandon, I think he actually applied for Love Island and then thought he was on Love Island and then realized it was Claire. And he's like, I don't know anything about you. I mean,
God. It was so uncomfortable. But then he was just gone. And, you know, honestly, I'm glad at least that we don't have to pretend like there's a potential with that, because obviously there's not anymore. So he's gone. Goodbye, Brandon.
yeah, you could tell like she was not there to play. We'll talk about Riley, because Riley had a really cute moment with her too, like after all of that happened. Kennedy says Riley with Claire was amazing, and he was the one that danced and said they were dancing to Boys to Men, and it was just like, and he said he wanted to that she needed someone to, you know, she needed to be protected, and said all of these things. Obviously, he had the note to talk about words of affirmation.
Oh, right? Yeah,
he was definitely on it
in their date thing or whatever.
He was definitely on it, and it was so cute, and it seemed very genuine
and natural. Mm-hmm.
Very, very genuine, very natural. And gosh, where else do we go? So
then
Blake, we got to talk about Mr. Ontario, Canada, Canadian Blake. So I mean, what this guy, seriously, you lose. He lost. I actually liked him last week. He seemed, I was like, oh, that's really nice. He went to check up on her. He wasn't supposed to call her. That's kind of cute. And then he comes into this one, and he totally becomes disrespectful. In my eyes, I say he became was very disrespectful, because I feel like you taking away time from men who actually deserved that chance, that chance to be there with her, and then you just like randomly show up.
I feel like what it really does is it just opens up the Pandora's box, basically, when I think it's really uncomfortable and disrespectful when that happens and they come up and the woman, the bachelor or the bachelorette, whoever, it happens every season, when they're not like, you know what, I'm having a conversation with this person right now. If you want to wait, I'll come find you. And because I think it's so disrespectful when they're just like, yeah, like you can just butt in when you're not even supposed to be there in the first place. Like, you're not supposed to be there. And it's like she rewarded it, basically.
Yeah.
And so I think that opens up this whole Pandora's box. And you saw the guys tonight that literally said, all bets are off now, because they see that worked out well for him.
Absolutely. Can we talk about just like, there was a moment, it was just like that brief moment of just like, have you ever seen the show Snapped? It's just like, have you ever watched?
I have seen Snapped. It's like the true crime show. And
where you start to notice when the person is just like a little off, like they're just gonna, they're gonna snap. Yeah. So like I kind of felt a little bit like that. Like, he started to scare me. There were certain things that he was doing that almost came off as obsessed, like more obsession and possessive. And it's there was actually, it kind of reminds me of Hannah's guy, Luke. Yes, he kind of gave me Luke vibes. For those who, so for those who haven't watched Hannah's season, like Luke, he was just very, very, very into her, and then just kind of started losing it a little bit.
I don't know. He reminds me of a character from Big Mouth. Did you watch Big Mouth on Netflix? It's like the cartoon show. Mm-hmm. Hopefully somebody that's watching this knows what I'm talking about. I just think he looks like that. Like, he would be on the show. Like, the way they're drawn, like, I think it's his jawline. But that's what he reminds me of. But anyways, yeah, I don't know. there's always one that's like the rule pusher, and
Yeah, he definitely was. And then he did it and he didn't get, I say it because he said he didn't get the reaction that he wanted, and then started to kind of look like he was beating himself up about it and felt like, oh my God, I need to fix this, and just got like really flustered. And I don't know, it's just like, oh, he gave me that's now I kind of give him the ick. He gave me the ick.
it gave me the ick too. And like especially the going in for the kiss. So if anybody missed this part, he essentially, after she was like, I appreciate you coming to see me, but I'm gonna go and hang out with the guys that are supposed to be here. He leans in for a kiss. She pulls away, and it was very strange. And you can see him as he's walking away. He's like, what did I do? And it's not because like you thought you did anything wrong. It's because you didn't get the reaction like you expected to.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely. And I think that was the weird thing. It's just like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. And now the guys hate you. So, and you're going to be spending the majority of the time with them. So that it's a fine line. But I mean, Leslie B says, yeah, but she rewarded it though. Yeah. And that's probably the most disturbing, is that she was okay with that. But maybe something in her says, well, it's about me, so he should be there for me and about me and not care about anybody else. And maybe that's how she sees it. Obviously she's not looking at anybody except for Dale. So, that's basically where we're at, because I think that's just about it. Like, Blake gets the rose, we talk about it, and then at the end of the night, it's just more so Yusuf talks about how he felt it was classless of Claire to do the strip dodgeball. So now we're going to see that next week.
We're going to see that next week. And my prediction is, because the way that they, preview it and the way they edit it is always different than what actually happens. I think that what's going to happen is he's going to bring that up to her. She's not going to take it well, obviously. And then that whole, like, you're the oldest bachelorette, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, it makes it seem like all these guys are, like, mad at her. I think the guys are just going to be mad at Yosef, and that he's going to leave. And then Claire's going to be that whole monologue where she's like, well, I'm the oldest bachelorette because I didn't settle for guys like you. It's going to be like her yelling at him as he's like driving away in the limo. That's what
So we are assuming, because we didn't actually see, did we see that Yusuf was the person who yelled it at her? Or could we see the guy?
You would see like the side of his profile. I think it was him.
Okay.
Well, yeah. We'll see. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was him.
Yeah, I think that we probably can assume that it would be him. But then at the end of the day, like, I also feel that there are a lot of young guys that would say something like that. It sucks, because I just don't feel like those guys are in it for the right reasons anyway. Like,
I feel like, and I don't know if it's like kind of the situation with it being like a confirmation bias or something, but I feel like we don't know as much, or like, at least I'm not invested as much in the guys as I have been in previous seasons. And maybe it's like because I went into it knowing certain things, but like, I just don't really care. Like, it's hard for me to remember these guys' names, honestly, because like, I'm just like, all right, well,
because we know that Dale, because we know that Dale is endgame. And J. Jow says Blake's rose was producer driven, and I mean, it could easily have been at this point. Look, being on Big Brother, I realize like production. I see the production written all over it. Obviously.
Yeah, well, and at this point too, you have to think about it, because I think Reality Steve said that like the whole her whole season was a span of like 11 days. And so at this point too, like producers are probably trying to like figure out some way to like extend this. Like if she did go say, like, I feel like I know who I like, they're probably having to like move things along a little bit on their end.
Absolutely.
So it could be producer driven. Who knows?
So like really the question is, okay, so to just before, because we're obviously kind of at the very end, so we want to start to wrap this up, but I want to kind of go into the things that we kind of know and we don't know going in, because I actually was reading a few articles about this where people have blamed Clare for locking herself in a closet and and like refusing to work with producers and wanting to cut stuff short because of Dale and all this stuff. And she has actually talked to, I believe it's Us Weekly or Entertainment Tonight or one of these, I forget, I should have grabbed it, saying that she never locked herself into a closet. Those things never happened.
I haven't seen that stuff, honestly. Like, I haven't seen the whole, like, she locked herself in a closet, she refused to talk to producers.
Or that she wanted to cut it short, that she wanted to cancel it. She said she would never do that. She would never try to cancel the season.
See, I don't know. I genuinely don't know exactly what happens with that. I don't know if it's something to where, she did say, like, I'm really only invested in this one person. Like, I don't really have any interest in this. Or if it was maybe on their end, like producers' end, where they're like, you obviously only have interest in this one person and you're making it really hard to be believable that you have interest in anyone else. And so like that might be it too. I really don't know, honestly. I don't know.
And I agree with you, because I mean that's exactly what it feels like. I mean, anybody else, if anybody else feels differently, please let us know. I feel like the only reason I can't get into this, I mean, even though today's episode was great, awkward,
it was good. Yeah,
it was good, awkward television, and we were just like, ugh. But it just feels, again, I'm going to keep on using the word disingenuous, because I get it. It's a show and it's sometimes not real, this Bachelor stuff. As some people just like, it's all scripted, blah, blah, blah. But these are still real people. And I mean, they do get married. So it's not 100% false narrative, only for those people who specifically just go on the show, to do something else with their lives, use it as a platform. Again, why a 26-year-old would be ready to settle down and get married to a 39-year-old woman, I don't know. And
I agree with you there. I think that it depends on the person, and like it might just be because of where I'm from, but 26 here honestly is like late for some people. Like most of the people that I graduated high school with are like engaged or married, and I'm 22 for reference. So I don't know. It just depends, and I think it feels disingenuous all around, and maybe that's like the feeling that you're getting from that. I have no idea. I think that there definitely are people that go on to get Instagram followers or to do whatever, and like it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen with any show, but I don't think that those people also can't simultaneously like realize that they do like somebody. And in that case, I feel bad for them and for everybody else, because it's like, we know watching it that her heart is really just not fully there.
Absolutely. You could definitely tell. And even with Dale, like, yeah, Dale may really be in love with her. The idea that people are now throwing around that he wants to be in a reporter, like he wants to be in the limelight. So this has been his, like, he wants to be like a Ryan Seacrest. This is like, oh yeah. So it's on like, so it's in articles that he has been Dale has been talking about how his goal, his life goal has always been to be like an entertainment reporter like Ryan Seacrest. And so it's now when you read all of these things, it becomes really hard to kind of figure out, okay, why are people going into this for the right reasons?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not really sure. I don't want to make an assumption yet just because I feel like we really don't know that much about Dale yet. Like everything has been kind of centered around him, but we also don't know anything about him. Like I don't know from this show, like from what they've actually shown, I don't know anything about him. And so I don't know. I don't want to speculate too much yet because I don't feel like we know his personality. We literally just know that Claire likes him. Like,
yeah, so we'll know. So we know, or at least we kind of figure from the trailers that, you know, that the guys are gonna start to question his intentions of being on the show or being on the show. They're gonna get pissed. They're gonna try and walk off. She gets yelled at. Like, to be quite honest, in 11 days, I mean, if you're still having 2-hour episodes, would you say that like 4 or 5 episodes would be pretty much it before?
I think that I was wrong. Every episode's been 2 hours. I don't know why I thought it was only an hour, but
I do too. I don't know why I thought it was an hour.
our minds have been in Big Brother world, and where that's the norm.
Sorry, y'all.
It is 2 hours, and I give it like 2 more episodes. I think it'll be like 4 episodes total. My concern is here. This is a spoiler. If anyone hasn't,
Spoiler disclaimer for anybody who is now does not want to know absolutely anything about what's happening. Disclaimer: we are now talking about spoilers.
I want to know: are we going to get the full time normally allotted for Tayshia? Like, are we going to get? You know, is she going to get? I mean, I just have so many questions. Like, is she going to get 30 guys? Is she going to get, you know, the 2-month time slot that they normally get? Like, that's where my mind is right now, is like, how is this going to play out? And so I'm just really interested to see how this goes. And yeah, we've got some interesting episodes coming up for sure.
We definitely do. And that being said, I completely agree with you on that. I worry about that. I also worry about like what these guys, I mean, obviously there's going to be guys that Claire is going to cut off and throw somewhere else. Or are they just going to hang out until Tayshia gets there? I want Tayshia to be surrounded by men that want to be with her, not like Claire's sloppy seconds.
Yeah.
You know, I want there to be a whole other thing. I don't want this to be a 16.5. I want this to be a season 17.
Yeah.
That's what Tayshia deserves.
Totally agree. Totally.
But we will only know until we just keep on watching. So that is the end of our show. Thank you all for tuning in with us. We know that things get crazy around here. It was a great episode. I know it was a great episode. As we keep on trying to recap these Bachelor, please bear with us because all of our energy is focused on Tayshia right now. We just want Tayshia to get here. So, I mean, love Claire, love Tayshia more.
Appreciate Claire.
Appreciate Claire. Really, really want Tayshia to get it poppin'. So, if you don't already, click like and subscribe. Click to receive our notifications. Share, comment. Let us know in the comments below what you would like for us to cover when we do talk about our Bachelorette recaps. Also, share this with a friend if they like Bachelorette, or if they're just starting Bachelorette, or if they've been watching Bachelorette for a really long time. Obviously, a lot of people know us because we're doing the Big Brother recaps, which we have only 2 more left this Thursday and next, because it's almost done. And so if you do or don't watch a Big Brother, we also do our recaps there every Thursday after the live evictions.
Yep.
We do Bachelorette every Tuesday after the Bachelorette show. Any last things? Also, follow us on all of our IG and Twitter handles below, and it's actually in the comments section as well. Any other things that you would like to say, Hannah?
No, I'm excited for the rest of this season. I'm glad, Big Brother really has slowed down. And so I'm excited for something new to like put my time into during the week and stay up late for. And I can't wait to see you all next Tuesday.
Absolutely. We love you guys tremendously. Thank you for all of the love and support that you've given us. And we will see you next week. Bye.